This is, I lost count to how many Olympias I've been to, but
What year was your first?
95, Dorian Yates.
Did you just go as just a spectator?
Spectator, yeah. It was my first. No, it was in Atlanta, and he won his.
Really fourth?
It would have been. So he won 92, 93, 94, 95. Yeah, fourth. Yeah.
So that was. Did that motivate you? Did you turn pro just after that?
Yes, the year after. So I was invited as a guest, and it was in Atlanta, which they used to rotate. I don't know if people following us remember, but they used to rotate the Olympia. Mm-hmm. It used to go like Chicago, Atlanta, New York. I mean, it went to Helsinki in 92. So it used to switch every year to different places. And I was fortunate enough to go to that show, and I never really understood how Dorian Yates really won by looking at pictures in the books, because it never really showed the real picture. Because I always looked at like someone like Paul Dillette, who was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I think he should win, And then when I actually went and watched the competition, I got to see how crazy Dorian looked in person. It was wild.
Just like any other show, when you see pictures and people think, oh, this guy, but when you're in person.
Yeah, and you know what I didn't understand, though, and, this is something that we'll talk about in this year's Olympia and how I understand it now. So Sean Ray got second, and he was a lot smaller, and Nasser got third.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand. I want to say Kevin was fourth or something then. But I didn't understand how Sean Ray, being as little as he was in the middle of those two monsters. Mm-hmm. But I saw, like, with Nasser, his back wasn't as conditioned as his front side. Mm-hmm. And what was really cool is, so 95 was like my breakthrough year. That was the year I won the Tournament of Champions in California, and Nasser was the guest poser. It was 3 weeks before the Olympia. It was like August, I remember the date, August 19th, 1995. And I watched Nasser guest pose, and I couldn't believe how big he was, number one, and number two, how big he was that far out from the show. And like, it seemed like he was holding a lot of water. I remember the next day I went to Gold's to do a photo shoot in Venice. And I remember Nasser was there on the bike, and he had gone out to Cheesecake Factory with us the night prior after my victory. And I remember people talking about he ate like 3 pieces of cheesecake, and it was 3 weeks from the show. And I remember he did like 2 or 3 hours in one session on the bike at Gold's Gym Venice that next day. And I remember someone telling me, yeah, he's on the bike for like 3 hours, which amazed me because, as you know, we're not supposed to be on more than an hour at a time. Yeah. And so it kind of shocked me that, number one, he'd go eat cheesecake 3 weeks out from the show. Number two,
3 hours of cardio.
3 hours of cardio. And then, of course, he goes to the Olympia and he gets third. And
so if he wouldn't have ate that cheesecake and didn't have to, do you think that could that made a difference?
It could have. I mean, it could have made a difference, but you still got third. It was his breakthrough show. Like, he hadn't placed that well yet. But he was massive. And I look at him now, and I look at today's lineup, and I still look back and think, and I'm not going to sit there and criticize today's era, but like, I can't believe how big he was back then.
How much did he weigh? His peak?
He was 285 on stage.
And he wasn't.
And he was like 330 in the off season. So like
5'10"?
He was 5'11". So he was 285 on stage, and he was pretty damn hard. So just goes to show, like, but that was my first. I competed in my first one in 99. It was at Mandalay Bay. And I finished 15th there. So that was kind of the first experience. And I think that 95 was the only one I went to before I competed in one.